Hello, welcome to Pursuit of Perfect System. Back in June 2018, I created a series of videos based around me building a new and what I called at the time an ultimate music server. And by that I meant building a computer that I was going to dedicate purely to being a digital music transport and also a store or storage for ripped CDs, basically my music collection that I've ripped myself, that I store locally on an internal SSD drive and play back locally. And I think there's sometimes some confusion because people see me using my phone and they think that I'm streaming music from the phone to the HiFi system in the demonstration videos that I do, and I'm not. All I'm really doing is using my phone as a remote control to control the music server. Now, my original plan for that build was to go from an existing standard of sound quality to an improved standard of sound quality, and I totally achieved that. Whole purpose of that build was to, have a focal and central point for reviews. If the source always stays the same and that part is consistent, then it's much easier to review everything on from that source, amplifiers, DACs, cables, speakers, whatever. And also it's a point of reference to compare against. So, getting other sources in of similar nature, products like Melco that I had earlier in the year, you've then got like a product to directly compare one against the other. And I think that's really, really important as part of a review process. So that is exactly what I did. I built that computer and that's been the staple part of my review system since. Well, that was at least until a couple of weeks ago when a part and component in it failed. The component that failed is this. I'm not sure if you can see it. This is not all of it. Basically, this is a custom built SSD. So that is the SSD board there. I'll hold it closer to my face for the focus reasons. So you've got the memory chips of the SSD there, which have been isolated or improved EMI, isolated and vibration with these pieces of aluminium. And then modded to that is this. Now that is a clock, an OCXO clock. So that product failed. And the killer part about that is that was the SSD for the computer operating system, which was a Windows Server 2016. So when you lose your operating system hard drive, you lose everything, don't you? You lose all your setup, all your optimizations, all the things that you spent years tinkering around and tweaking. So I lost all of them. So I had to make a decision really in the sense of what am I going to do from here? I need to get my main source back up and running. And I could have taken a shortcut. Really, I could have just got a new SSD, installed that in the existing computer, reinstalled an operating system and got back up and going again really quickly. But I didn't decide to do that. And there was a reason for that. And that is because when I built that music server back in June 2018, I really wanted to change all of it. I wanted to change the motherboard, I wanted to change the CPU and a few other bits and pieces, and I didn't. I decided to keep quite a few things the same. So I kept the same motherboard, I kept the same CPU, I kept the same SSD drives. I've got to start again. I've lost my whole computer really in a sense of all the settings and everything, so I've got to start again anyway. Why don't I just start again pretty much from scratch? I've built a new PC based on a brand new CPU, which is actually the brand new Intel Xeon CPU, the E2100 family, I think it is, with an Asus motherboard, but an Asus workstation motherboard, so a server motherboard. And then I'm using ECC RAM, which is error correction RAM of an industrial type made by the company Apacer. So not your typical Corsair, Crucial, G-Skill, all your typical brands that you would see. And I'm using a very, very expensive industrial SSD drive to replace the one that's just broken. In terms of the process of building a computer, I think you either know how to do that or you don't. You can learn, it's very, very easy. It's pretty much just like Lego, everything just goes in the right place. There'll be much better videos for you to watch to show you how to build a computer. But if you know how to build a computer and you fancy taking on a project where you want to build your own computer purely dedicated to music, then I thought this could be a little bit of interest to you. So what I've actually done is on my website, pursuitofperfectsystem.com, I've created a new article called Building the Ultimate Music Server Again. What I've done there, I've literally kind of given a bit of an introduction, a bit of an explanation, then I've listed the components that I've used in my build And then I've listed the softwares that I've used, the optimization softwares that I'm using, all the different hardware that I'm using, all the different products from JCap, for example, the different linear power supplies that I'm using. And then, as I mentioned, the softwares. And I'm also going to show the BIOS optimizations that I've done and some of the Windows optimizations that I've done. So it's not really a guide, but it will give someone maybe some help or some pointers if they'd like to take on this project themselves. So if that seems of interest, make sure to head over to the Pursuit of Perfect System website. Obviously there'll be a link down below in this video, and there'll be a link down below in the video description to take you straight to the correct page to get all that information. Now the reason I think this is important is because I'm hoping now with this particular build, this is going to be the music source for me for all the reviews I do going forward for hopefully a considerable number of years, with the bulk of this hardware and hopefully software just staying the same. So when I do videos in the future for song demonstration videos, and I mention the source, this is my music PC that I've built myself, I can point everybody hopefully to this video a little bit, really to the website where I've detailed everything, so you can go in there and find out what that music computer is, what's running on there, what hardware it is, what software it is. Just trying to explain it all, very, very complex. There's so many little things that I've done in there to make that computer what it is and to make it sound the way it does. I'm just about to start a series of videos that I was going to start about 6 weeks ago before I started having all these problems, and it's called The Best Sound Ever, or The Best Sound I've Achieved Ever. And I think what's really interesting about that is I was ready to make this video series, I say about 6 weeks ago. Certain products in for review at the moment. I've got the fantastic Kano Audio AI 1.10 integrated amplifier, tube integrated amplifier, which is just a phenomenal amp. I love that amp. I've got the JCat M12 Gold switch in at the moment, and I've also got Tellurium Q statement cables, Chord Electronics Hugo TT2. These are all products that I've had here for a considerable number of weeks to review, but I haven't been able to review them because I've had no source. The source has been down. And it takes quite a bit of time to rebuild a computer and get it back optimized and get it back to a standard where you're happy, especially to hold your hands up and say, this is the best sound I've ever achieved. I'll talk more about the system, how it's sounding, why it's sounding better, and the areas I think that it's sounding better, and very, very interestingly, areas that the KEF reference speakers, my own personal speakers, are now performing in a way that I didn't realize they could actually. They're performing much better in certain regards than I ever thought they would possibly do. So that's been really, really interesting. So I just want to say thanks to Kano Audio, thanks to JCat, thanks to Tellurium Q, and thanks to Chord Electronics for their patience, for allowing me to, a really extended period of time to review these products properly and bring you what's coming soon. A series of videos that I'm going to call the best sound I've had so far, the best sound I've had ever. So this one, yeah, just kind of like an intermediate one, really as a bit of a warm up for what's coming. To point out something pretty critical and major that I've changed as part of the review system, and yeah, to point you to the website if this is something that's of interest, because the last video I created, building this new music server, it's had quite a lot of interest, nearly up to 15,000 views of that video. So there's obviously interest in this topic, and what I would say I've done now is taken the best bits from the last build and added on much better bits really, and part of those bits being better is better reliability and better longevity, but also lower noise, better designs, and overall better sound quality, which is what it's all about. Again, bear in mind, if you want to know more about this music server, go and check out the website. So I hope you enjoyed this video. There's going to be lots coming in a short period of time. So yeah, I'll be seeing you soon. Thanks very much for watching. Thumbs up if you enjoyed this one. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.